All right, we are here again with Kristin Mathes. I am so looking forward to whatever unfolds in this conversation. I have no idea. Kristen had the brilliant idea yesterday, I think, of having kind of a retreat review or recap. Kristen knew kind of the journey that it took to create the retreat, get to the retreat, market the retreat, hold the retreat. And we wanted to share a bit about that with you, with y'all. Kristen has been on the podcast before. We've held some lives together. Kristen is an incredible therapist and surf therapist, adventurer, lives in Costa Rica, and we've just been really enjoying collaborating, being in friendship, being colleagues, and just having fun talking about business. So we wanted to let you all in on the conversation. Kristen, do you want to introduce yourself a little more?
Yeah, hi, thank you. And thank you for that introduction as well. It has been fun to watch the process as I've been also in the process of retreat planning and facilitating and getting ready and in a new launch for retreat right now as well. So I'm just excited to hear how it went because I think that's what we all want to know. Like, tell us, about it and the journey. I think coming off of these experiences is so powerful and can be hard to share. Like people don't get it, they weren't there, but so much magic happens. And so I wanted to selfishly hear about it from you. And I'm sure so many of your listeners do too. But yeah, like you said, I'm also a therapist. I own my own private practice and can work completely remote, see my clients in Oregon and while living down here in Costa Rica. And I just, excuse the wet hair, had to get in the water before meeting you because that is such a big part of my own therapy, my own self care. And it's been really fun bringing surf therapy into my work as a practitioner and getting to share it with people who have never been in the water or who've never thought about surfing and using that as a therapeutic tool. So that's something I'm really excited about right now. That goes beyond my one-on-one work with clients online.
Yes. I love that that's a part of your work because I just got to experience it in my own way. And it is so, so, so powerful. And I just can't wait for more. I'm daydreaming about maybe coming to see you in Costa Rica at some point, maybe doing something retreat wise with you. I don't know, but just all the power of being on the ocean and the self-care that comes with showing up in that way is just it's really empowering.
So empowering. And it's something that I think is really scary too, or intimidating, or like, I can't go surfing, all these nerves, what's going to happen to me? I can't possibly do that. But we get to challenge so much of our work. I mean, just today for me, I was like surfing in a place where there was so many good surfers, people were watching on the beach. I was like a little bit of internal panic and having to remind myself, I belong here. I get to be here. I get to take up space. So just a little taste for me, but it allows me to challenge my own internal work all the time. And then
Mhm.
I come out feeling like, heck yeah, I just did that.
Yeah.
Start the day.
We have this experience talking about surfing. I've taken so many surf lessons in my life and really struggled with so many aspects of surfing of like how my body moves, my joints, like the ocean being scary, all these things. And this time we had a totally different kind of instruction that was more somatic, more body based, actually had like a foundation in yoga. The teachers were quite trauma informed, actually. And I caught so many more waves than I have ever caught in my life. And I think part of it was having that foundation of just relating differently to my body, to the ocean, and not just trying to go in there and muscle through it. It was amazing.
Uh, I want to hear more. Tell us before we just like get off the train on surfing, because I can talk about that forever. Tell us about your experience. How are you feeling coming off of this retreat experience that you just facilitated and were part of?
I feel like a different person, but more myself than ever. I hadn't been able to host a retreat since before the pandemic, and that was a long time. I was used to, excuse me, hosting or being part of multiple retreats a year. And just feeling my feet on the floor in the yoga shala, the space where we were practicing and talking and connecting and teaching together. Um, I just remember the feeling of my feet on the floor in there. And it was as though it just reminded me of who I am. And I felt that feeling of like this, the textured wood as I was sharing my practices and sharing everything about what I love with all these incredible humans. It was a coming home to myself in a way that I've been longing for and hoping would happen. But the beginning of 2024 was so incredibly painful and on so many levels that just getting to that retreat, what it took so much for me to get there, as you know. And I am just so grateful. The week before, my friend Justin asked me, he said, what's your intention for the retreat? Because I had been so focused on the intentions of the participants, wanting to make it so, so, so special for them. So they felt really nourished. And he was like, what's yours? And I said something along the lines of, I need a fucking paradigm shift. I would like to go into this retreat and come out feeling like everything is different. And I said it both as like a prayer and a part of me that was kind of joking and a part that was like, I don't believe that anything like this could happen for me. And it really happened. And just feeling myself there in that space and being held by that particular land, by the ocean, by the retreat center, by the people assisting me on retreat, by seeing the faces of the participants and getting to connect in such a sweet and deep and playful way. Just something in my nervous system and the cells of my body felt like it just changed. And I came home and made some very empowering shifts. And I just feel so grateful.
I love to hear you talk about, because I think as a retreat facilitators and yeah, as facilitators, we think a lot about the structure of the retreat. Okay, when's this happening? When's this happening? Organizing, facilitating, but also we are participants. And sometimes that can feel like a little edgy as therapists because we're usually the ones not bringing ourselves to the process. How was that for you? Was that hard for you to step into also kind of being a part of the process, um, or not?
That's what I love about this particular nervous system regulation work that I offer because I get a session every time I give a session, whether I'm working with a group or a one on one. And it's just immediate direct access to my body, my heart, my mind, my soul. And it's so gentle and it's so subtle and so simple. But there's no way for me to show up and facilitate a group of people without me being wholeheartedly, fully in my practice. And so the practice that I'm offering, but also the last 20 years of my practices, it has to come with me into that space because I'm holding so many precious hearts. Um, I'm on retreat very much so because I need to be listening so deeply to what wants to happen each day. Sure, I have a structure, I have themes, I have an outline, but I don't teach in a way in which it's planned months ahead. I have to be listening to the rhythm of the group. I have to listening to the heartbeat of the group. And so I don't actually plan my talks until the hour before, 2 hours before, maybe the night before, because otherwise it wouldn't apply but it really forces me to be there, to be present. And the reality is, while I was there, so much happened at home. Oh my gosh, my house was literally falling apart. My tenant in my guest house had found mold everywhere, everywhere, even though I had mold tests before I bought this place last year. He was ripping it apart. It was just incredibly just overwhelming the day after my birthday on a Tuesday. And the woman watching my dog had to say goodbye to her dog that week. Like, just like my 2024 was continuing home at my house in the way it had been going. Well, I was pulling myself out of it by being in Panama. And I had to ask for help, and I'm not good at asking for help. And I called my brother, who I'm not good at asking for help from, and I just said, "Please, can you handle this for me? All of it, everything." And he did, and that was epic. And he's still handling it. Um, and I got to be there. I got to be with that wave, that tsunami wave of everything at home is asking for me to crumble right now. That I almost canceled that evening session just so I could cry in my cabana, knowing that this would be like a $15,000 project. And something there was just supporting me outside of me. Everything there that I had set up, that the retreat center had set up, there's so much structure. And I reached out to my friend Joe, who was participating on retreat, just said, "Can you help me tonight?" Another like asked for help. And he thankfully trusts me enough to say, "No, I will tomorrow night." And so I showed up. And it was so cool because I threw my plan for the evening out the window, and we played games that night. And we played get to know you games and, mindful relating games, and did a short practice, but honestly, I couldn't think of anything more perfect for that evening, for those participants. And so as a participant, like my invite is, what would I love to have happen in each moment, and what would love to have happen in each moment? And it was all perfect, really. And I'm not somebody that says that. It's all perfect, but it really was. It was such a demand of like, "Shelby, you need to be here, be present, be in this practice."
Well, it just speaks to the attunement, right? We can't, if we're just following this really tight schedule and structure, we're going to miss so much of what the group and ourselves are bringing to the process. And so just to show up and say, where are we at? What do we need? Might be different from when we spoke a month ago when you signed up for this retreat. What do we need now?
Mhm.
What were you hearing from other participants who came? Like what was that like when you're tuning to the group?
Yeah, it was everything. On my retreats, I really have a very genuine invitation for radical permission. Everything is optional. The most important thing is that you are honoring what your body needs in that moment for nourishment, to support your intention. And that doesn't mean just like willy-nilly do whatever you want all the time. It's just like, where's your edge? Do you step into the group because that's the most nourishing thing, even if you want to run away and go have a pina colada? Or do you go out and do you go for a long walk on the beach? What's your edge? Like, actually saying, "I'm not going to participate." And that was the biggest thing I was hearing from people, that they had never really felt so much permission to listen for what truly is the most loving thing for my heart, mind, and soul in this moment, and to follow it and to be celebrated for that. And it's not like there isn't a part of me that sees people like leaving the session and isn't like, "Oh, did I do something wrong?" But there's a bigger part of me that's like, "Fuck yes." Like, there's permission here. People are taking care of themselves. People are listening to what really wants to happen. And so that was the biggest thing that I was hearing, that there was so much permission to listen and respond, not just listen, but and respond in a way that was maybe more genuine than they had ever felt like they could do. And that just made me so happy. So happy.
Yeah, what a gift. And I hear you in like having to kind of check, right? Is my are my offerings okay or what's happening here? But just to say no, people are listening to themselves and doing what they need to do for themselves. Man, we are so pulled away from that in day-to-day life. We're often doing what we need to do, we're supposed to do, what our partner needs from us, what our family needs from us, not really tuning into in this moment, what do I want? What do I need? What feels good?
Yeah. And I mean, the reality is, for many of the folks who come to my retreat, they've been in survival mode. They're pretty burnout. Listening to their bodies hasn't really been an option. And so even just making one choice towards, I think this might be the most loving thing, is really fucking brave. Even if it wasn't ultimately, starting to just open our awareness to something that's just a little unfamiliar, of like, really, like, we had so much privilege to be in such an incredibly beautiful place, being so well cared for, and to be able to take time to really listen in that way, that is a privilege. And it can be uncomfortable at the same time. Of like, can I really take in this much amazing food? Can I really take space with this person or that person? Or could I actually tell my roommate, I don't want to talk anymore? I'd like to be in silence. It takes something to make those choices. It's not just frivolous. It's actually a move away from, like you said, what we think we need to do. So often it's the nice thing, and take radical permission to take care of ourselves.
Noticing my body's just melting as you're telling me about it. Like, I want to go to Panama. I want to give myself permission to go to Panama.
With me.
Yes. Tell me more about the activities that you guys did. What did kind of the day to day look like?
That was the other piece of feedback. I was actually terrified to read the feedback because I had a lot of hangups about all sorts of things. And the feedback has been so beautiful. It brought tears to my eyes. But it was the schedule was so people felt really, really held by it. And like I was coming out of that structured silent retreat, rigidity, and moving into, how can we do nervous system regulation work in a way that also feels like it could be something we could take back into life. And so we would wake up and have a morning movement practice that was so lovely with Tay, who came from Brazil. And Tay used to be a yoga teacher, but now facilitates something that's more mobility based and very trauma informed. Just more of this, like, what is the most loving thing in this moment? You could try this, you might try that, and give so much empowerment to people to find what supported their bodies. And I watched every day. People showed up in the early morning every day. And often on retreats, what happens is like less and less people come to the movement, and people were so loving it so much. And then we have an incredibly luxurious breakfast. I mean, every meal was just like by the end, we were like, I don't know if I can receive this much goodness. It was so delicious every time. We'd have plenty of time, and then we'd meet, for usually, most of the time, we'd meet with me for some kind of teaching around the nervous system, around trauma healing, around how we can heal through ease, through an experience of less is more, of not striving and trying, but just receiving. And then we do a practice, a really simple nervous system practice together. We'd have maybe few hours for lunch, and then most of us would go surfing, go take a surf lesson, a surf experience. We did that a few days. Others would stay back and go on a horse ride or walk the beach, do an epic massage and bath with flowers. Whatever the most loving thing was, take a nap, meditate. Um, and then we'd meet again for a short practice sometimes. I guided a couple breath work practices, very gentle, but totally different. Like I've been doing breath work forever and ever. And I just love it as an added piece. I always want people to come and be like, yep, that's for me. No, that's not. Yep, that's for me. No, that's not. And so just a little bit of a different kind of nervous system regulation thing. An epic dinner that we all got to sit at this beautiful long table and just be brought incredible thing after incredible thing with amazing staff at Sansara. And then sometimes we would meet and we would play games. We'd get to know each other. The last night, Kiara, my assistant, taught a bachata lesson. So people got to learn some dance moves and have a little dance party. We had another kind of dance closing out together. Did a really couple sweet evening meditations. But just kind of coming in and out of practice and connection, silence, and social. I learned a lot about what I would do differently. But for the most part, I think it was spacious yet grounding.
What were people saying? What were people taking away when you read your feedback? What you said your life really changed, that you feel completely different. I want to hear these little nuggets of like, what were
Yeah.
people taking away?
I mean, some of it feels so precious and personal that I don't even want to share, but I mean, I think that they'd be elated for me to share, but it was like so deeply touching to hear. I've never felt more safe in my life to be myself. I've never felt more welcome to bring all the parts of myself. I've never let this particular part out and I felt celebrated. Like I learned about myself in connection and that I'm okay as I am.
Okay.
Think a lot of kind of relational pieces and around like who I am, each person, learning this is who I am and wow, I don't need to fix it. One thing somebody said is, I learned that we can heal and be done with it. I don't have to just keep going back and back and back and back. And this doesn't have to be something that I'm chipping away at forever. Things like that.
Shall be. This
Yeah.
is what I love about bringing people together in groups. Um, of course, we can do really powerful work in one-on-one therapy. It's what I'm doing every day. But when we come together in a group, there's just something so powerful of being seen in that and taking the risk to share these these parts of ourselves, be people who maybe we aren't allowed to be in our day-to-day life or with certain people, and try a new part of ourselves on and get the permission, like you're talking about. Give the
Yeah.
get the permission, right? And be held. And that to me, it's so hard to convey. It gives me chills every time I work with groups. Walking away, it feels like, wow, everyone just gets to be themselves and celebrated. And that is such a gift that we don't often get.
Yeah.
I think we don't often even realize we're not getting it sometimes.
I agree. And that doesn't mean that every single person felt that way, but and that's also welcome, you know? Um, it's just every single person came for a different growth piece, a different healing piece, and I'm here for it all. I'm here for the pleasant, unpleasant, neither. Something that struck me so deeply was a piece of feedback that I received afterwards from somebody that had been meditating for 15 years and been on a number of retreats. And they said that they had never felt more embodied in their life, and it has stayed with them since. And I was like, "Wait, you go on retreat all the time. I thought this," but we all know, right? Like, sometimes something just lands. Another person tried to practice it 2 practices that they thought they would never participate in because it was, like, not their thing, and it said that it has changed their life and their practice, and now they're doing that particular thing every day at home. And to me, I was like, "Oh, just that little thing?" But to them, it was like
Gee.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like, "Oh, could I try this on?" You know? So,
Even that is so exciting to have the opportunity to try something totally new, out of
mhm,
your comfort zone, to take a leap, like, "I'm just gonna try it here." Give it
totally.
and we just never know. We never know what is gonna land or work for us, and, that's that's exciting.
Yeah. I have a hard time with, like, woo-woo stuff. Yet, in some ways, I think everything I offer, somebody could be like, "Man, not my thing, too woo-woo." But I think that there's a way that I bring all, breath work, meditation, nervous system stuff, trauma work, healing in a way that feels very accessible to people that are like, punk rock or, science, nerdy, medical, whatever. It's just like, whatever. This is just this. It doesn't have to be this big, huge, out there, transformational, whatever. It's like, no, this is a tool. Let's try it on. Let's play with
I love that
it.
because that just gives us the permission to, like, have fun with it and see, do we like it, do we not? Does it work, does it not? Um, but speaking of play, what were the fun parts?
Mm. Surfing for me, it was both fun, challenging as hell. I got hit in the head by the surfboard and I think I got a concussion, but still, it was fun. And I just loved the instructors' trust in all of us. Like they were so playful and similar, like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like taking three of us, four of us, just all the way out to the big waves right off the bat. And just like, "You got this, no problem." Just so playful. And so we were just getting thrashed out there, but we were laughing and just playing with the ocean, and the instructors were teaching us so much about, like, you can't actually be in control out here. You can really, like, know how to keep yourself as safe as possible, which is very similar to how we do therapy, right? Um, but we got just such a lived experience of that. And bringing a sense of playfulness, it was such a metaphor for everything. So, surfing was so fun and exhausting, and oh my gosh, it's so hard. It is so hard.
So,
Um,
but I love hearing that, the trust, right? Because I think that can be really scary aspect of surfing is like, "Oh, you're taking me out of my comfort zone," or maybe I'm not good. I'm not at that level yet. But the trust that you have to kind of develop with yourself, it's like,
yeah,
I know how to keep myself safe.
yeah,
It's really profound.
yeah. And the moment I stopped paying attention was the moment I got hit in the head. I was
Yeah.
like just heading back to land, right? And I'm like, oh, that's it. That's the lesson, right? Yeah. What else was playful? Like little moments. I was doing cannonballs in the pool with my friend Kara. I saw other folks playing in the pool in similar ways with each other. I think it just brings out the little kid in us. That felt so much more fun to me than personally sitting around and being worried about the size of my body and the color of my swimsuit and who's looking and how am I positioning myself on my lawn chair. I've done a lot of that in my life. Let's be real. And for this particular retreat, the people that were there, just as a whole, it felt like so permission to be playful, to just be unapologetic, to just be in our animal bodies, be little kids together in that way. It felt so like there was so much permission. Other folks were like going on horseback rides and bike rides. They rented bikes and came back and told lovely stories about what they saw, what they navigated, and they just all were kind of giggling and smiling together. A lot of sweet connections. I would just kind of sit back and look. Most people didn't know each other when they got there. And there were so many beautiful connections that formed and people that just were enjoying chatting, which is not something I'm super used to on retreat. I'm used to a lot of quiet. And a part of me was like, I don't know about this. But another part was just like, oh, this is play. People are kind of playing and connecting, and that felt nice.
I'm so into that. I love that. I think play is so essential to trauma healing.
Mhm.
I know you
Yeah.
know, but even perfectionism, anxiety, like giving ourselves the permission to play and be silly and laugh and enjoy. Like we're supposed to have fun and enjoy this life. And I feel like that just like busts us out of this. Like I need to look a certain way and perform and be my most professional face, whatever that is for you. Um, even just me showing up with wet hair today, that's new.
Yeah, I love it. It's
That's
perfect.
new. But I think playing in the ocean, like you said, surfing, cannonballs in the pool, all of that, like play is so much more healing and therapeutic than we give credit to.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Mm. Mm. At the end of the retreat, well, I guess you know what else was playful? It was my birthday on the first full day of retreat. And one of the participants who I've known for a long time kind of set it up with Sansara or my assistant to like have me have a cake that I could eat. I have a lot of food allergies. And it was just so cool having it felt like everybody had flown around the world to celebrate my birthday in Panama. I was just totally reveling in it and soaking it up. And everybody felt so playful and generous and kind. And it was just a really special moment for me.
So tell me, coming back home, big plans, changes, what's coming, what's inspired from your time there?
So much. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll say that I stayed in Panama City after almost everybody had left, knowing myself and knowing my nervous system that I would need some time to integrate before flying home, a long journey home. And it took a couple days for it to hit me like, oh, this happened. This just happened, which I imagine happened for everyone. What just happened? I told everyone before they went home, like, "You're probably a lot more sensitive than you realize." And I keep hearing that, even having post-retreat integration calls. And for me, I noticed super tender-hearted, just like, "Oh, I love this place. I love these people. I love this life. Like, I just want more of this in my own life. I want more of this for more people. How can I be part of creating that without having the stress around creating it?" And, um, and I just took really mindful time walking through the Panama City, just so happy and so in my element and grateful to be speaking Spanish. Got myself the best Thai massage of my life. I'm a Thai massage therapist, so that's saying a lot. And finally just let it sink of like, we did this. This happened. Like it took so much magic to create this and make this happen. It was no small feat. And so I just let the magnitude of it kind of wash over me. And then I came home and I felt like I carried that with me, like the bigness, the magnitude, how much meaning it held for me and hopefully for others, and wanting so badly to bring the essence of what we created there into everything that I do, even more so. Um, and on my way home, I started feeling that daunting feeling that many of us get, where it's like, oh, life stuff, adulting. And it's never for me work stuff. It's always like dealing with home projects or relationship stuff or, friendships, whatever, dealing with XYZ health stuff. And I felt it coming and I was like, no, I'm not, we're not doing that anymore. I felt some empowerment. I came home, actually walked away from a long healing relationship with someone that I realized when I was away that had not actually been serving me. Um, and since walking away from that, oh my God, I just feel like everything I've always been waiting for is right here. It's in my breath. It's in my bones. It is not in a healer. That's for damn sure. Healers are there to support, not to rescue and save. It is here in me, and I feel that more than ever, and I have just been in full, like, voraciously devouring, like, life and qigong and meditation and empowerment and, like, this big, like, fuck you to anybody that wants to take that energy from me anymore or, like, and creating these programs in my business that I've just been wanting to forever but haven't had the energy for. Daydreaming about retreat next year, and I'm just here. I'm in it. I am here and I am ready to go. And I cannot wait to see what happens.
The creativity, the inspiration, the life. I like this is what we want when we come off of retreat, right? Like reconnecting with what is the direction I'm going in? What am I really passionate about right now? Has it changed? What do I see for myself? Do I believe in it now?
Mhm.
Um, that feeling like coming off of retreat is the best. Like I'm just recalling like working with teens in the past. It looked like, oh, I'm gonna go back and finish my GED, or I'm gonna, take up this new hobby I never thought I could do before. It's like these life-changing little capsules. They're monumental, right? It's like you're changing the way you structure your business moving forward and feeling empowered. And that is, if we can all walk away from a retreat with that kind of energy, amazing.
That's so funny just because I just realized when you were saying that was the point of the retreat. The original intention of the retreat was about, like, getting clarity on your business, finding your North Star, and finding the empowerment to go. And I was like, "I'm so tired of looking out at marketing XYZ and so and so doing this and people that I need to charge this much." And I was like, "No, this is who I wanna work with. This is what I wanna charge. This is what I wanna do. Offer 2 things, and that's it." And I'm, like, doing it. Ease.
Clarity, ease, direction, creativity, inspiration. Ah,
Yeah.
mm,
So good. So good.
amazing. That makes me so, so happy to hear, Shelby, because I know the work that goes into creating something like this and what your year has been. It sounds like it's been worth it.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I totally schooled a healer yesterday that she, heard about some things that from my past, and she's like, "You know, a gift comes out of everything." I was like, "You know what? I actually don't know that that needs to be true." I was like, "Sometimes it just sucks." But yeah, I mean, a lot of it has been important as part of getting to here now, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing about your experience.
Thank you for asking. Yesterday morning, I opened my email and you had this gorgeous newsletter that landed in my inbox. I really never read that many people's stuff. And I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" It was so beautiful, first of all, just all of your branding. And I was reading about your retreat and the details and the specifics, and I was so inspired. I was like, "Yes, this feels just reading it feels like ease. It feels like an easy invitation. Feels like so powerful, easy to understand." Like, I was like, "I wanna send everybody here. I know right now how important this work is." Do you wanna tell us about it? I wanna tell everyone about it, so you tell everyone.
You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, yesterday I opened registration for a retreat called Finding Flow. And it is a surf therapy and yoga retreat down here in Costa Rica that I will be facilitating with a good friend of mine, Melody, who's also a holistic health coach, surf instructor, yogi. She's super fun. So we are collaborating together. Um, Really, the intention of this retreat is to find flow, as the name says. But I'm imagining just like hopping off of some of the emotional roller coasters, hopping off of the insecurities that turn into anxiety, and the mess that anxiety can become, and understanding our body a little bit more, connecting mind body as you were talking about, but using surfing as the avenue for confronting some of the hard stuff and learning, how do I overcome these big fears that are holding me back. Someone who signed up yesterday told me that man, I'm just so stuck. There's so many things I want to do, but I don't have the courage to take the leap. And I really want to find that here. And I really want to prove to myself what I'm really capable of. Which again is yeah, I
Mm.
know it has the power to do that. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. So I could say so much about it, but it is a week-long retreat here in Costa Rica, all included. We're going to be doing a lot of surfing, 5 sessions of surfing, 1 per day, as well as yoga, some breath work, and a couple of different special topics on gut health, hormonal health, those funky ways that anxiety and trauma symptoms can show up in our body that we don't maybe know are connected. And really leaning into our body a little bit more, leaning into the present moment, slowing down, listening to our bodies, building trust with our bodies. If everyone walked away from this retreat feeling like we talked about earlier, like, oh, this is my direction forward, this is where I'm going, and I trust myself,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Mm. When you said something about like feeling like my capability, that just felt so deeply important and so possible, in a setting like this. And I just feel really excited hearing that. Yeah. How can people find it?
My website is www.emergewithfreedom.com. You'll find retreat registration there, or on Instagram at emerge_surf therapy. Right now there's 6 spots left available. It is a smaller group, so we're going to cap it at 8. It's an intimate, smaller group. It's open to women of all ages, I should say over 18. And yeah, we have 6 spots available. I'm really, really excited to see who's going to kind of take the leap. I know it's a courageous, can be kind of a scary thing when it comes to surfing, but everyone who has joined so far is like, this scares me and I want to do it. This scares me and I've always wanted to do it. Or I'm so nervous, but so excited at the same time to do something wildly different. So
Yes, it's definitely going to fill up quick. I'm so excited for that's going to be there and for you.
so much, Shelby.
Well, thank you so much for just offering to have a podcast conversation and hear about the retreat. That feels so meaningful. And yeah, more soon, I'm sure.
Soon. I can't wait to hear about it and where you go in the upcoming year, what the plans are, and we will of course have to chat more about what it could look like to work together on retreat, because I'm really excited about bringing people together, building community, playing,
Yes.
and coming home to ourselves.
I can't wait to learn more from you about playing.
Oh girl, we can play.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much, Shelby.
Yeah, thank you.